Hey, Shalom Akim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Makwakadash, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Stone Rule Well and Akim out there. Appreciate what the Lord Yahushai in sincerity and truth, boldness of mind, throughout the four corners of the earth. So, yeah, I say Shalom. Right, so it's always important to always follow in line with the current events that's taking place. Right, since this so-called COVID-19 situation has been unleashed by the Lord, so I can just have to remember it's just a wake-up call for the elect to understand that Lord Yahweh Shema is letting these things happen. All right, so the issue of famine is weighing heavy in a lot of people's minds. All right, and yesterday was May 1st. Right, so you had a lot of people protesting as about their living situation, their standard of living, complaining about rents, complaining about food, complaining about whatever they had in mind that's been weighing on them, weighing on their souls heavily. They're talking about their burdens, right? So we just seeing these things take place, man, right? And it's just to remind the Akim that the kingdom of Esau is almost at the end. Is getting closer to the end, right? Because it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get violent. It's gonna get very depressing, right? So the men of the Lord have to understand that, protesting and all that stuff, it takes energy. When you're out there on the street, you're walking and yelling and all that stuff. It takes a toll on a person's mind. But nonetheless, right, you still gotta, you still gotta understand what's more important to you, right? So you just remember, you're not required. The Lord didn't really send us out there, to be running up and down the streets, yelling and screaming with megaphones and protesting about rent and all that stuff. We're here to preach the gospel, right? So the folks of this world, that's their lot, all right? To be petitioning the government and all that stuff, that's the lot of the folks of this world, right? And don't be surprised if you see some of the elect, right, that haven't woken up yet. If you see them protesting, right, so you just have to go through that phase. But for the Akin that have woken up, all right, that's not our cup of tea, all right. So I'm gonna read this precept real quick. It's gonna be from the book of Lamentations, chapter. You know what? Let me go to book of Revelation. Book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8. Alright, so this is Esau's rulership. It says, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him." Yep, and hell followed with him. Alright, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Right? So that's a symptom, that's a clear description of Esau's rulership. Death and hunger. Death and hunger, and, and stress, And then when you look at the book of Proverbs, right? Book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2, it says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." Alright, so these people are mourning. Alright, so these are protesters out there on the streets. Majority of them are Edomites and Jakes. Alright, Edomites and Jakes. You don't see no Moabites out there on the street protesting. You don't see no Elamites out there on the street protesting. You don't see Ishmaelites out there on the streets. Right? It's mostly the house of Edom and the house of Israel. Right? That's the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans, all right? These are the ones out there complaining, you know, after the Edomites, which are the so-called white people.
The economic crisis also means that demand for food stamps will swell. While Congress did pass additional benefits for some recipients, a high percentage of the poorest households did not get an increase. Questions over additional money will undoubtedly be debated in Congress in weeks to come. But many people are already facing complications when using their benefits right now. Economics correspondent Paul Solman has the story for our series, Making Sense.
A mile-long line at a Pittsburgh food bank, and it's hardly unique. Dave Wellens manages a food warehouse in El Paso, Texas.
Usually by 8 o'clock in the morning, there's vehicles lined up a mile to a mile and a half long.
Michael Lopez is in New York.
There's a tremendous need. Typically, the Hungry Monk Rescue Truck serves about 200 meals a week in our food pantry over the past 35.
Yeah, so this issue of food is serious, man. It's no joke, all right? And then, if we've been aware of what this so-called pandemic has been a focus of, the so-called governors keep yelling about, stay home, stay home, stay home, but they haven't done anything to prepare the people for the shortcomings, the lack of food. Right, the lack of revenue, the lack of income or wages for them to sustain themselves. All right. So when the folks are hungry and they don't feel that their grievances have been addressed by the so-called public servants, they lose their marbles. Just like what's that guy's name? Jerusalem, when people have nothing to lose, they lose it. And that's exactly what's going on. All right. So Proverbs chapter 29 verse 2 says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked bear a rule, the people mourn. All right. So the people are mourning right now. They're upset. They feel betrayed. They feel as if, that the people that they voted for don't care about them. And that's exactly the truth, all right? So you don't hear about these governors and senators and mayors talking about food, talking about shelter, food, shelter, food, shelter. They're not talking about it. They're not talking about, people not being able to pay their rent. They're not focusing on that. They just talk about whatever they can to put themselves in a proper position to look good on camera, to make it look as if they're in control. But they're losing control now, all right? People are protesting. They don't want to stick with the lockdown plan anymore. They're upset, all right? So that's going to cause more confrontation between the people, and these so-called sheriff deputies and the police officers. And you're going to have more protests in the capitals, in counties. All right, people will be showing up to people's homes to protest so they could go about their daily lives, but it's not going to be, as they want. All right, it's going to get terrible. It's going to get violent. Yeah, so it's not exactly, how I decided it has to go. It's all decided by the Lord, by Shimei Shai. All right, so now the precept is going to be from the book of Lamentation, chapter 4. Verse 9, all right, it says, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. All right, so these folks are tired of living a slow and painful death. They could feel it, man. You hear about folks just killing themselves because they can't take the embarrassment anymore. And that's not the type of lifestyle the Lord Yahweh Shai, expects of his servants. All right? He expects us to hold on and be faithful unto the end. Because all these so-called suicidal tendencies, man, that's what weak, just say weak. It's for the folks that are plagued with spirits, right? When a man doesn't have the hedge, or a woman don't have the hedge, of the Lord Yahweh Shah around him or her, they become susceptible. All right, they become susceptible to those evil thoughts. That's why you have so much, so much suicide, in states. Then so-called COVID-19 cases. All right, people overdosing on drugs and all that stuff. So all this COVID-19, whatever they want to call it, is just a distraction for the elites to gain more power over the people. And so I have them, implanted with the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast. All right. So it says, for these pine away, stricken, true for once of the fruits of the field. All right. So they can't, man. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. All right. It's gonna be messed up. And then you hear about farmers cannot distribute their goods, their produce, and all that stuff. You could just call it BS, but hey, if they destroy the food, that's about it. They can't say that people are not going hungry. All right, so it just proves how evil the system is, man. Why we want to destroy food? That people gonna need to eat. So it just proves that that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is letting this place fall apart, and then it's gonna get ugly.
Days, that number has grown to closer to 2,000 families that we're serving.
I don't have any income coming in. I don't get any food stamps. It's just hard to get, any help right now.
Nashville's Brooklyn Dotson doesn't get food stamps, not yet anyway, but nearly 40 million Americans do, as so-called SNAP benefits. No one is starving, says Hunger Free America's Joel Berg, but
they're rationing food. If this goes on much, much longer, then we could start to see actual starvation in America. We're doing far much worse than any developed Western nation.
Economist Hillary Hoynes.
Prior to the crisis, about 11% of Americans suffered from food insecurity, and we have every reason to believe that those statistics are increasing dramatically in the current time period.
That's a sign of the times, all right? Sign of the times, famine, all right? Because the men of the Lord always knew that this thing was going to take place. Even the so-called preppers knew it. You have people that were growing their own food, buying land, storing up stuff. They knew that this shit's going to take place. Even the so-called governments, agencies, they sit back and let these things happen. So it just proves that it's all an artificial event, on the surface, all right? But when you look deep down into it, it's all spiritual, according to the will of the Lord, all right? So this book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 57 says that children shall die of hunger, all right? So this is talking up to the Israelites, okay? And thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy cities shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. So that happened to our people. The curses, all right? All the evil that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai permitted to take place and happened unto us is for the rebuking of our people. It's to remind us of the situation we're in, okay? That it happened in the past, it's going to happen again. So the Lord's going to use these disasters to test the faith of the elect, all right? It's going to separate people, it's going to weed out who's right in the spirit and who's wrong. So that's exactly what these trials and tribulations are about, all right? So the evil that have been sitting, that have been laying dormant in people's minds is going to come out. That's why it's important to pray, that Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, protects you and guides you, and don't let you fall, for the lust of the flesh, all right? Verse 58, 2nd Ezra 15, verse 58, they that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. Right? And that tells you about the siege of Masada. Right? When the Romans, surrounded our people and they were up there in that, elevated land, yeah, they got cut off, from supplies. And for a while they were okay, but then eventually, you know, they did the unthinkable and committed suicide. All right, so it's gonna be something you see again. All right, and then a lot of people are gonna start bugging out. All right, these so-called governors and mayors, they're gonna start, feeling helpless and plagued. Right, because they went along with the plan to keep the people under because of the so-called New World Order instructions they're getting from their handlers. Yeah, so it's gonna be beautiful, man, to see how the Lord Yahweh Shai is gonna start checking people. All right, so I'll play this portion real quick.
I'm Natasha McCray, and I live in the Bronx, the nation's hungriest urban county. This is my daughter Ariana and my son Ethan.
3 years ago, McCray was struggling, even with SNAP. But the pandemic has her kids, now 4 and 16, home from school, where they get noon meals. Suddenly, says McCray,
you gotta have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and with them both being home, everybody's hungry all the time.
McCray gets about $550 a month for her family of 3, but her income as a tutor to low-income kids has plummeted. So how about free food? She was using New York City's grab-and-go school meal.
Yeah, she said a family of 3, we've seen about, $1,500 a month. Yep, so, what that says, that our nation is, divine intervention from the Lord Yahweh Shai, all right? So it just shows that the father is not there. So she was the one running the household, even though the son is 16, he's still under the mother's wings. All right, so he's gonna have to, mature and get a little job here and there. All right, because it's gonna be hard, man, on our people. That's why the Lord Yahweh Shai will have to cut this time short. All right, Issa's rulership, Moses has to put a stop to it very soon.
Program, which expanded to adults on a third.
And then shortly between week 3 and 4, when I went to pick up a breakfast or a lunch or two, there weren't any more breakfast or lunch available.
Joel Berg isn't surprised.
Even in the best of times, the charitable sector only handles a small portion of the need. The federal nutrition assistance programs still provide more than 10 times the dollar amount.
But for those like McCray already getting maximum SNAP benefits before the pandemic,
you have to wear a face mask.
The assistance hasn't gone up, while prices have.
Hamburgers, $18.99, $31.99.
At least they have in her food desert stretch of the Bronx.
When the pandemic first started, they were gouging prices. I mean, the cost of eggs was around $8. Milk was $7. Over the past 5 weeks, it has been a nightmare.
And the crisis has caused lots of snafus. Quincy Pettis is home from college, so he isn't getting there, but he can't get SNAP either.
I applied, but they denied me because they were saying that I would have to work 20 hours.
Your pizza stays untouched from here to your table.
He got a job at Domino's Pizza, even though he's taking 21 class credits online, and still no food stamps.
I would have to go and have my own apartment, but I am currently living at my parents' house.
So because you're living at having your own apartment, you're not eligible for SNAP?
Yes, sir.
Did you get a stimulus check?
No, I did not get a stimulus check.
Because he's in college.
Because he's in college. That's that's an excuse, man. You could still be in college and be working. You have people that are in college that are unemployed. So it just proves that the situation in Babylon is it's terrible. And if he was employed, who knows, man? if he had been employed, who knows how long that check would have come for him to use. It wouldn't have gone far, just help for about a week and a half. All right. But after that, who knows? Who knows how long the next check is going to arrive in the mail or arrive in his bank account, or if it's going to be enough to take care of the things he needs to handle. All right. And then you have the issue with prices. All right. The price of grocery, it's getting ugly, man. All right. People can live without buying eggs, buying milk, buying chicken and fish. Yeah, you just go get some vegetables, but that's hard now. All right, so because you hear about farmers destroying crops and all that stuff, it's gonna get tight for a lot of people, and that's why it's important for ICAM to prepare now. Mentally, spiritually. If you get a chance, financially, and then get into having your own little garden where you could grow some greens, having some seeds to grow stuff, corn and potatoes and all that. It helps, all right. So it's very important that you don't take for granted the knowledge in the scriptures. When you see people, farming and all that stuff, obviously the idea of survival, in the righteous way, let it be in your mind, okay? So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 18, verse 25. It says, "When thou hast enough, remember the time of hunger, and when thou art rich, think upon poverty and need." All right, and that was some words of wisdom that we need to hold on to, meaning don't get comfortable, don't get comfortable, because the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is about to shake the powers of this earth. It's about to shake the foundations of this earth. All right, so it's very important. Don't forget, when you're going through a tough time, remember when you have that difficulty to deal with, that your life was kind of easy at one point in time. Okay, so you shouldn't lose your marbles. You should pray the Lord about Shema Shai gives you the courage to come up and to be strong at the end. All right. So I'll play a portion of the video and wrap up with one more scripture.
The rules are a problem for millions of students right now, says Ken Riegel of Just Harvest.
College student can't get food stamps at school, can't get food stamps at home. The parent can't get food stamps for the child in their household. Parent can't get the stimulus payment for the child, and the college student, can't get stimulus payment of their own. So it's a quintuple whammy.
Are you hungry at all?
Yes, I am hungry.
Another SNAP snafu, online shopping. Elisa.
That's one thing, man. What did the colleges, do for the students, man? Just took their money, keep them in there, let them enjoy their social life, but it really provided them with nothing, because a lot of these colleges, man, they're sitting down a lot of money, millions of dollars, billions of dollars. What are they doing to assist, all right, their students that are impacted by this situation, all right? So you just have to pray, Lord, about Shema Shai, gives you the courage and the faith to stand up and do what is necessary, all right, to stand in the last days.
Grishman, a Pittsburgh disability rights advocate, has 6 autoimmune diseases.
The main ones that affect me are multiple sclerosis and Crohn's disease, but I also have forms of arthritis. I have diabetes from steroids for my other conditions, and so it's extremely dangerous for me to go out. I haven't left my house in a month and a half. If I get sick, I'm going to get very sick.
So if you can't go out, can't you just shop online?
Unfortunately, no. Pennsylvania doesn't allow you to use your food stamps to order online delivery of any sort of groceries. I also can't use it to do a pickup order and have someone pick it up either.
In fact, only 6 states do allow it under strict conditions.
So this is a huge problem for large numbers of people who are immunocompromised, people who have disabilities, people who have difficulty getting around, people whose buses have been cut.
Tens of millions of Americans are food insecure right now. Doesn't bode well for them or the economy, says Joel emphatically.
Even before this crisis, food insecurity cost our economy over $160 billion a year because hungry children don't learn as well, hungry workers don't work as well, and hungry seniors can't stay independent.
And they said the truth. And, man, the amount of food that goes to waste here in Babylon is no joke, right? Food that had to expire and all that stuff. So it's important that you don't get comfortable here in Babylon, because it's gonna make your life, worthless, man. All right. So, one final precept. So it's John chapter 6, verse 35. It says, you know what? Let me see. John 6, verse 34. It says, then, no, it's verse 33. For the bread of the Most High Yahweh Shemashah B'Hashem Kodash is he which cometh down from heaven and giveth life unto the world. All right, and that's the real sustenance. That's Yahweh Shai, all right, the Prince of our life in this truth. He's the one that's going to keep us going all the way through. Okay, then it says in verse 34, then said they unto him, Lord, evermore give us this bread. All right. So that's exactly what the disciples said. And Yahweh Shai said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. And that's exactly what we need to hold on to. Okay? That's exactly what we need to hold on to, because it's very important that we don't forget, that the Lord Yahweh Shai, He's the one in charge. After the Most High, He calls the shots. All right. So you just pray that that you're spiritually taken care of, and understand that what you see with your eyes is not necessarily what you need. Okay. So you just pray the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh Shai guides you, man, because we're gonna go into a time of desperation, man. I can be much more sober in the spirit. All right, to be much more introverted for some point in time, and the Lord Yahweh Shai will have to come sup with us. All right. That's exactly what He said. If any man hears His voice, and open the door unto him, He said, He and His Father will come in and will sup with that brother. And that's what it means to fellowship, meaning He's going to keep you stable in the last days, that you will not be a bug out. You won't be screaming that, your stomach and your insides and your headaches and all that stuff because of the lack of food. Yeah, so you just gotta have faith that Lord Yahweh Shai will provide for you, just like He provided for the prophets of old and our people when they were coming out of the land of Egypt. All right, so that's the point that I can, don't get stressed out thinking about having an empty fridge. If you got children and all that, have faith. Don't just sit down there and just wait. Talk to brothers. Tell brothers about your situation, and brothers that are in the position to help. All right. So you gotta be creative. Just don't sit down and be idle. When you don't have nothing in the fridge. All right. So just pray that the Lord Yahweh Shai, motivates you and keeps you sane in this last day. Shalom.